Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well today. It's been a fun May. Gonna give you a couple of minutes to get on. Gonna introduce myself. My name is Terrence Ramses, the CIO of the Royal Blossom Company, also the host of Thursday Night with Pineapple. I'm excited for this particular live. We're in the middle of May, about halfway through this month, which time is moving by fast, and we also halfway through the year in 2 weeks. Man, this year has been going by fast, man. So yeah, it's been a lot of different things that's just been going on with in the world, in the business world, especially in the housing market. We're gonna get into those topics as the lives go on. But without further ado, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from New Jersey with a West Indian background in the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. I attended Bethune-Cookman University from 2007 to 2012. I graduated with a business administration degree, concentration marketing. I stayed out there a couple of years after that, worked at the Hilton as a bellman, then moved out here to Tampa, fully started up my company, formerly known as Right Brand Clothing, with one black t-shirt, and it has evolved into a full collection of different products, from swimwear to beachwear to different things of each gender and each category. And I'm going to tell you the vision and mission of the Royal Blossom Company. So the mission is to restore, build, create, to restore all the wealth and resources that have been lost in our communities, to build up the youth and children that are coming behind us, to create a unique commonwealth of like-minded entrepreneurs, to put them back in their God-given purpose and talents. And our brand values is to be fun, spirited, and passionate about everything you do through God. So we got a few updates and news. I'm gonna officially go ahead and let everybody on this live know that we are starting that process and preliminary process, and we've been doing some things behind the scenes for Fashion Week. So we are going to Fashion Week London in September. So we are about to start that campaign this weekend. There's going to be some amazing content coming out with me and the models that are going. So stay tuned for that content. So there's going to be a lot of inboxes coming from me talking about just the promotion, and sponsorship letters are going to be going out. So stay tuned for that information too. And it's going to be in the email as well. Also, upcoming events. So this Saturday, after this live, we're going to be going ahead and book the Saturday shop. We're going to be at the Jerk Jam, the Caribbean Festival, out there at the Lakeland Mall from 2 to 8. So you want to come out there and get your products. I'm excited for it. So we got some new tank tops on the way. So let me have Rose tell you a little bit about the tank tops.
Hello everyone, this is Rose here. I am at the Community Festival in St. Pete, and I'm here holding the Blooming Lavender Rose. This is one of my favorite products that we have going on, and guess why? Because it has my name in it. And of course for you ladies, it's something for you to enjoy during the summer and springtime. It's beautiful in color, great product. You don't want to miss that one. Please add it to your collection for this summer and spring. And we are here again at the Community Festival in St. Pete. Stop by and see us, or go on our website and see that for yourself. See you soon.
So let me tell you something. I got some tank tops here ready for sale. These are going to be a little bit of unisex, men and women. There was a crazy thing that happened with this production. So I've been a little MIA because these tank tops specifically didn't come out to the sizes that I expected them to come. But however, we're going to still roll with the punches. Got this next production going to be here in 2 weeks. So you want to go ahead and get your orders in for this Caribbean-based rhythm tee. It's the men's tee. We got that ready for you. Nice, sleek size right there. So we got a couple of other different sizes too. So this is going to go up to, based off of what we got, this is going to go up to like a large, extra large. So, ladies, I want you to definitely take advantage. One for 25, two for 30. One for 25, two for 30. It's hot outside. Listen, you know I get your tank top in. Go ahead and get this thing in, man. I'm excited. We got the hats to go with it. Caribbean-based hats to go with it. I got new bucket hats in stock. And I want to show you uh, a picture of the bucket hat. So as you see, Angie and this lady, she has a bartending company. I forgot her name, but I gotta put her on there because man, these bucket hats, they're gonna do something serious to you because it's gonna be hot this summer. You know, it's starting to gradually heat up. We in El Nino, so you want to definitely get your bucket hats, your dad hats. Listen, we still got the mix and match, 5 for 100. 5 for 100 mix and match. So you want to go ahead and go to the website right here, www.royalblossomcommunity.com. We recently changed it, .com, not .co no more, .com. Or you can scan this QR code, it'll take you right to the website. Go ahead and place your orders in. We got new bucket hats in, got these tank tops, and then you have the ladies tank tops that's going to be for pre-order for the next couple of weeks. So please come by and see me at the Lakeland Mall on Saturday from 2 to 8, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of this because I know we're a little bit behind. Let me go ahead and pull up the comments. Hey, Danae, how are you? Everything is great. Everything is great. Hope all is well up there in New York. What's going on, Gretchen? Appreciate you tuning in. All right. So without further ado, so, it's like I said, this podcast a little different, man. Like, you just don't know what angle we coming from. And when I tell you, man, like, to keep this thing going and show you the different variety of guests that we have, I want to tell you something. This ain't easy now. This is not an easy task to get these different guests in because everybody has different schedules and different things that they could be doing with their time. But I always want to say I appreciate all the guests that come on, and we definitely going to talk about some real estate in this and how we can get you funded and a few different things of that nature. So before we bring on our guests, so let me tell you a little bit about this phenomenal gentleman that's about to come on. He's a part of various different things in the community, man. He's very active. His story is very unique. I spoke with him last year at a father-son event that one of our mutual friends had, and Denise Moore, that shout out to her. And she was on a podcast with Donald and Eddie a couple of weeks ago. And when I tell you, man, like, this guy he has a story behind you, and he has multiple different endeavors that he's a part of. He's been amazing dad, does full custody of his children. He's a mortgage lender, and he's also a full-out entrepreneur. And he does so many different things in these different realms. But without further ado, I'm going to let him tell his testimony and his story. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Moses Alford. What's going on, brother?
Not too much. Not too much. How are you?
I'm great, man. It's glad to have you on the line.
Absolutely. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, man. I know, it's just like I said, man. I know I had to remind you to come on, man. I know it's been hectic. Yeah, I've been distracted, man, because these tank tops done came out messed up a little bit. It's been a crazy last couple of weeks. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you from, and a little bit about your background.
All right. Well, my name's Moses Alford. Originally from South Carolina, along the coast, Georgetown, Geechee boy. But I am a lifelong entrepreneur. Kind of come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, he did things very similar to what I'm doing, 100 years ago. So I'm kind of picking up the legacy of my family in a certain sense.
Okay. So what are some of the endeavors that you're a part of?
So at the moment, I am a mortgage broker, branch manager. So any type of real estate finance, like period. I am a licensed insurance agent, property and casualty. So that's homeowners insurance, vehicle, business insurance, all of those types of things. And I'm also an investor, real estate investor, flipping houses, creative strategies, and I also teach that. I help people, get started who want to invest but may not have the resources and the team behind them. And I basically bring a vertically integrated solution for everything related to real estate and money.
Okay, that sounds good. So tell us about your mortgage lending capabilities, and how long you've been in the mortgage game.
So I got in real estate in general in 2007 as a realtor. And the market has just been up and down, up and down. And I got into lending in 2020. Um, and, I've been in different parts of the business, from working for a bank to just the captive retail company where you can only offer their products. And that's what led me to become a broker, because I have endless options, hundreds and hundreds of banks. I mean, the down payment assistance side of it is something big that we do, because there's millions and tens of millions of dollars available through the state, cities, and counties. But most people don't know how to access it, don't know the steps to go through. So, my company, we somewhat specialize in helping the people who want to go through those channels know what's needed. And then, your normal FHA, VA, conventional, um, those types of things. And then you get into your investment financing, whether that's like a fix and flip loan for a house that needs work, or we call them DSCR, and that's for an investment property that you're going to keep long term. And, so we have the full spectrum of everything.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a follow-up question about the house flipping. I didn't know there was a house flipping loan. Can you tell us a little bit more about the house flipping loan, and how would you access that type of capital to flip houses? I didn't know there was a specific loan to do that.
Oh yeah, there's a whole category of that. There are people who only do those types of loans. Majority of the time, when you see a house getting flipped, people aren't using their own money. They're usually using, we call it hard money or private money. Private money means it's just an individual, not like a bank or an institution, and that person has their guidelines and they loan money. Hard money is more institutional, and that just means you're going to pay a higher interest rate, higher fees. And that's more or less how it works with fix and flip. It's all based around the equity in the house, right? If you're buying it at a good enough deal relative to how much it's worth, it becomes pretty easy to get that loan, as long as you have the basic qualifications, which is a decent enough credit score. And then they're going to want to see that you have some money, right? Like it might be a 90% loan of the amount that it's going to take to purchase it as well as fix it. They'll give you 90% of that. You need to have the other 10%. You would need to have your closing costs, and then you would need to have a percentage of the renovation budget. And then everything else just gets cycled through, kind of like you were building a house from scratch.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
and what's important is those are always short-term temporary loans, 6 to 12 months. So you're going to refinance or sell it once the work is done. Those types of loans are not meant to be your long-term solution.
Okay. So yeah. So that was going to be my follow-up question, but you answered already. That's interesting. So all of the loans are pretty much from like a 6 to 12 to 18 month period, is what you're saying?
For those hard money ones, I mean, I've seen some that, they'll let you pay interest only for 30 years if you want to. I don't know if you would want to do that, but they'll let you.
Okay. Okay. Now, are you able to access that when you're first getting into real estate, or you have to be in there for a specific length of time?
Well, I mean, your experience plays into it, right? most of them want you to have experience. But I do have some that will allow a first timer to get in. I mean, I have one in particular. Um, I have one in particular who, okay, let's not speak theoretical. Okay, in January, I closed on a duplex in St. Pete, and I call it the immaculate transaction because it was the culmination of everything I've learned in the last 25 years, and I was able to structure that. I got a 90% first, and I got a second to cover the other 10% down payment. I got the sellers to pay the closing costs, and I got more money than I needed for the closing costs. So I got a check back for $8,121 when I closed on it, which I used for the renovations. So I was able to purchase this $500,000 duplex, and it only cost me gas money. But that's very advanced. That's very advanced, but it's possible. So in that particular loan, no credit check, no appraisal, no nothing. It's just the you have to have the equity there. That's what it's based around. How much the property is worth when it's fixed up in relation to how much you're going to pay for it. This $500,000 duplex, I bought it for $260. That space in between is why they're willing to lend me the money.
How often do you do this?
This is my first flip, personally, but I've been helping other people do it for years, funding their deals and helping them figure out what's a good deal and what's not. And last year I decided enough was enough. I'm tired of helping everybody else, achieve the dreams I want to achieve. And I reverse engineered it and put it all together.
Okay. That's some good stuff. Now, with the regular mortgage loans, tell us your experience and tell us a little bit of the things that you need to do to go through a mortgage originator like yourself.
You mean like if someone wanted to qualify for a mortgage, what that might look like, the qualifications?
Yep.
Okay. Well, your credit needs to be, everybody thinks about credit, right? Credit is the first one everyone thinks about. But credit is only a small part of it. You want to be 640, 680, but we can get them done with lower scores. But there needs to be an understanding as to why the scores are lower, because your credit score is just a mathematical calculation of your financial habits. No one gets bad credit because they're unlucky. They get it because they don't manage their money well. So if you manage your money well, your credit score will reflect that, and then you're going to get more favorable terms with everything financial. So that's the credit part of it. And then there's having the money for your down payment and closing costs. And, there are down payment assistance programs that can do 100% financing. And we are in a buyer's market, so it's pretty easy to get the sellers to pay your closing costs in this market. Stuff is sitting. But you're still going to need some money. Nobody buys truly zero out of pocket unless you're me. But under normal circumstances, at a very minimum, you're going to need your escrow deposit, which would be around 1% of the purchase price. $300,000 house, that's $3,000. But that's going to go toward your down payment and everything. But you need to have that up front when you go under contract. And then you're going to be paying for your inspection and appraisal, maybe another $1,500. And that's at a bare minimum. So what I tell people though is like, pick a struggle. Okay. If you need down payment assistance, then have decent enough credit, right? If your credit isn't all that good, then try to have some money. But it's really tough when people have challenging credit with like recent late payments or collections, and then they have low assets. Another thing that really helps is having a 401k, IRA, any of those. If you work a job, your job offers it, and they offer matching, contribute towards it. The time is going to pass regardless. And what's cool is we can basically use that as reserves without you having to cash it in. They just want to see that you have the ability to save. And if anything happened, you have money you can access to keep yourself afloat. So that's those two portions of it. And then you have the income part of it, right? You have to be able to qualify income wise, debt to income ratio, how much you make in relation to how much you're already spending, plus this new bill that's going to be added, which is this house and the expenses of that. So there's a calculation that goes, but generally speaking, you take how much money you make per month, you divide that number in half before taxes, your gross amount. Divide that in half, and then that amount is the most you can afford for all your existing bills that show up on your credit report. Let's be specific on that. Not your car insurance, not your cable bill, just the stuff on your credit report. Student loans, car payments, loans, credit cards, collections. That plus the house needs to be 50% of your income or less. If you meet those criteria, you can be in a house in 30 days.
Okay. Okay. Now I want to ask another question. How long is it? How do you find clients to help them out? Do you do referrals or do people come
Yeah,
seek you out? Do you have a website or anything like that?
absolutely. Yeah, I have a website, alfordlending.com. It's full of all types of resources. I have a blog on there giving, great home buyer information, mortgage calculator, everything. Um, um, but primarily clients come from real estate agents. The way the world is set up, most people don't know to come to the guy who can get you the money first. They go to the real estate agent in a nice suit to go look at the house, and then the real estate agent says, you go to my lender. And then they send you to whoever it is that they work with, who may or may not be the right person for you. But the realtors are going to be loyal to their lender typically. Um, yeah, but it's a lot more, in my opinion, it's more advantageous for someone to start with me, learn all of your options, and then you can handpick your broker based on, commissions and charges and all of those types of things. Um, yeah.
Okay. Now, why would you say it'd be better to go to the loan officer first than a real estate agent? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Because the real estate agent doesn't know what you're going to qualify for, and they're going to direct you based on what serves them, not based on what serves you, typically speaking. Realtor lender relationships are reciprocal. Oftentimes lenders are helping real estate agents pay for their marketing, do things like that. So in return, I'm going to give my people to you, even if you're not the best lender out here, even if you don't have every single option, and for some realtors that I know, they have that, big time lender who pays for their Zillow ads and these things, but that person can't do everything. So when they can't get something across the finish line, then they bring it to me because I'm the problem solver.
Hmm. That makes sense. I can see. Okay. So you want to try to problem solve before the problem happens, is what you're
That's
saying.
right. That's right. Come
Okay.
to me. Let's look at your picture, whether you're ready or not. I can take a look at what's going on, and then we can reverse engineer it. And I also feel a big mistake a lot of people make is wanting their perfect home for their first home. On average, people stay in homes 7 years. On average. Um, um, you know, buy what you can. Stop paying rent. That's the most important thing. Stop paying rent and purchase what you can afford. And then, you know, it's not that difficult to purchase a home every few years and build a rental portfolio. This is how some people become investors. I've helped multiple people do this. They bought a house years ago and they've got some equity. I help them access that equity, and then they use that to put a down payment on another property, and then turn that existing property into a rental. And a normal person with a normal job could do that every 3 to 5 years if they save their money well. And then you look back in 20 years and you got a portfolio of properties that you can retire on, possibly.
Okay. Okay. Huh. Now, how many banks do you have access to as a loan officer?
Hundreds. As a broker, like loan office, like there's so many different types of loan officers, right? When I worked for Ameris Bank, I could only lend what Ameris Bank has. And when I worked for CMG, I could only lend what CMG has. If you didn't fit into their criteria, sorry, I can't help you. But as a mortgage broker, I have access to everything that's out there, pretty much. So I mean, people bring me problems that I didn't even know exist, and then I find out that I have a solution for
Okay. Now, when you're pulling credit as a loan officer, do they do you run it through one system or do it different banks consecutively pull your credit report?
it. I do one pull, one credit card,
One pull.
one pull.
You doing one
It,
pull
it
and
lives in my system, and then I filter through. I have like a search engine kind of thing that puts all the criteria in, and then it spits out all the different banks who offer that, and then I filter that based on, you know, who's going to give the best rates, who has the lowest fees, and who can actually close the loan and not be a pain in the butt.
oh, that's good information. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know mortgage officers do that. That's a process. Okay. Now, how long usually does that process usually take?
Depends on how complicated the person's file is. At the most, 2 or 3 days. At best, half an hour.
Okay. Say 30. Say you can get you in the house in 30 minutes.
Well, I can get you approved in 30 minutes. I
I'm
can
just
get you
messing.
approved. Now, the fastest I've ever closed a loan is 11 days. 11. That's the fastest you can legally close a loan based on TRID and all the different disclosure requirements. You can't do it faster than 11 days. And that's just for like a FHA home buyer loan. When you start talking about HELOCs or private money loans, I can do those in 2, 3 days.
Okay. Now, what's the name of those other two loans you had just said?
Private money or HELOCs, home equity line of credit, where someone owns a home and they have equity and they want to access that to pay down bills, just whatever they need money for. And you can access that, and it kind of functions like a credit card. So you're only paying interest on the money you're using at any given moment.
Hmm. So how would you access that money if you needed it? How would you?
It's a,
How would you?
it's a, it's a, it's a transfer. You'll have like a bank account that's your HELOC account, and it'll link to your normal bank account. And if you need some money, you just do a transfer. And
It's
what's
like,
cool about it is, let's say you had the money there, and people who run businesses, this works really well for them. They'll use the money throughout the month, and they know that the statement date is on the 15th. So by the 11th, they put all the money back in. The statement comes, they pay no interest, and on the 17th, they go take it back out. Yeah. It's great for purchase orders, fulfillment, things like that.
so it operates as like the same thing that you have like a whole life policy with life insurance, so works kind of the same way, huh?
But not exactly. It's a credit card based on the equity in your house. That's the
Correct.
best way to look at it. It's a
That's
line of credit. Yeah, it's just a line
hmm. Hmm. And how long do you have? How long do you have to have your house to access that?
of credit. It's not really a question of how long you've had your house. You have to have equity in it. You have to have enough equity to be able to access it.
Hmm. Now, how do you acquire more equity in your house? With time?
Typically, I mean, if you bought a house before, 2020, 2021, you're sitting on some equity. You're sitting on some equity. If you bought since 2022, you're probably not.
Okay. So it takes some time to get equity. So if I buy a house today and I wanted to access it 6 months from now, I couldn't do that.
If you, it's not a, like if there was enough equity in there, let's say you put a huge down payment, or let's say that area you bought it in got rezoned to commercial, and then, overnight it went from this value to that value, then you'd be able to access it. But they put limits on how much you can access. They're usually going to limit you at 80 to 90% of the value. So if you bought a house and you put 5% down, there's nothing to access, until the value has gone up enough, and then you're paying it down simultaneously. Then once you get some meat on the bones, you can take a bite out of it.
Okay. So the bigger down payment that you put on, the more equity you possibly have in a shorter period of time, is what you're saying. Okay, so I'm getting the hang of this thing. That's why I'm asking questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Now, it's been a big topic of housing crisis and housing affordability. Now, do you work in that affordability sector as well?
Well, if I'm being honest, it's not really a question of housing affordability as much as it is wage suppression. Things are going up. Everything is going up except how much they're paying people. That's the real problem. There's a collective effort throughout this country to keep wages flat, even though the price of everything has gone up, and that makes people's time less valuable. So I don't believe there's an easy answer to that thing. Like, houses are never going to go back to being $100,000 in Tampa. That's never going to happen. We would need income to catch up. And I personally feel like what they're doing, the efforts that they're doing, is like a drop of water in the ocean, to what's actually happening. It's in Tampa being one of the hardest hit places, in these last years. I blame Tom Brady. The Brady effect was real. I mean, he came, we won that Super Bowl, and overnight the value of everything went up 40%, which is great if you were already a homeowner. You've got equity now that you can access to go do whatever. But if you're not, then the cost of your rent went up 40%, and now the price you're going to pay for that same house has gone up 40%. So there are a lot of people who are already priced out of Tampa, and they don't know it yet. There are a lot of people who are. Pasco County is a big recipient of a lot of the people who are being forced out of Tampa because of affordability. You can't buy a $200,000 house that's livable anywhere in Tampa. Not really. They're abound in Pasco County, Hernando County, Polk County. So it's the metro is growing, is what I'm seeing. The boundaries of it are growing just to be able to accommodate everybody. My plan with helping with affordability is really about enfranchising more rural areas, like we were just talking about, the outskirts, where you can still buy land for decent prices. I'm a very big proponent of mobile homes and modular homes. I mean, a lot of people think they're too good for that, but they're not too good to rent their whole life. Whereas, you go 15, 20 minutes outside of the city, and you can have room to run and breathe, a nice newer manufactured home with a payment that you can actually afford. And then, like we said, over time, you can go and buy your dream house as your income goes up and as you build equity within that property that you have. So I have, different solutions for that, where people who might have the money for down payment and all of that, but they can't necessarily afford a house in the city. but they want something new, I can help put together land home packages where they go and they pick the manufactured home that they want, they pick the land that they want, and we marry the whole thing together and bring it to life. And we can even roll in, I've seen it where we roll in landscaping, fencing, pools, outbuildings in the back, all those types of things where you end up with a nice livable piece of property.
Hmm. And you said that you'll be able to do that in like more rural areas.
Yeah, that's going to work better outside of the city. Not it doesn't have to be all the way out there, but that's not going to happen in Seminole Heights. It's not going to happen, East Tampa. Not really. But this is another really cool thing that's not utilized enough. It's called the 203K loan. It's an FHA loan that allows an ordinary person to kind of act like a house flipper. It's an ordinary FHA loan on the back end, but on the front end, it's like a fix and flip loan. It's complicated, it takes more time, and it takes a little more money. But doing this, an ordinary person can find a house that needs some work, that has a ton of equity, get it under contract, buy it. You'll have to have a contractor give you bids up front, how much everything is going to cost. And then we will determine up front how much that's going to be worth once the repairs are done. And then you'll get that loan for the purchase and for the repairs. And then when it's all said and done, you don't have to refi. Your permanent loan is already structured in that.
Mm.
But a person needs to have the right real estate agent and the right lender for that, because everybody in the market does not know how to navigate those. You have to have a HUD certified inspector to sign off on the plans. And you have to have a licensed contractor who's willing to jump through those hoops. It's going to be some hoops to jump through for the contractor to do this kind of loan for you. And most contractors don't want to do that. I have resources with contractors who are already 203K approved, and we've done them before.
Okay. How often do you do those type of loans, the 203?
They're rare because most people, don't know they exist, and again, they're tough. People tap out on that because in a certain sense, you're a house flipper when you're doing that. You're a house flipper at that moment. So it's not just let me find a house. You have to be able to walk into a house that is not move-in ready and have a vision of what that's going to look like, and work with a contractor to get down to the penny on what it's going to take to bring that to fruition, and then buy this house that's ugly and then pay an interest payment on it while all of this is going on. But again, if you do it properly, you can buy a house at 50% of the value and walk through the door with a ton of equity that you could then turn around and get a HELOC on without having to wait 5 or 10 years. It's a good way for a person to get in, especially if you wanted to start flipping, but you didn't have, all the things I was saying, the 10% down in reserves and all of that. You could buy your first house with a 203K, only have to put 3.5% down, get the seller to pay your closing costs. You only have to keep it for 1 year. After a year, you can sell it, cash out all that profit, rinse and repeat.
Okay. It's good knowledge. Okay. Definitely. Now, do you work with like community projects with affordability loans and stuff? Do you work with those type of those sectors as well?
I'm open to it, but I'm not currently working with any of those. I do work with like the city of Tampa and Salidas House, Neighborhood Housing Association. I speak sometimes at those home buyer events and doing the mortgage part or the insurance part of it. But I don't actively have any like projects that I'm funding with them at the moment.
Okay. There's some there's about a few references I can send your way. I know my bishop at my church. He's a real estate broker, and he's working on affordable housing. He also in the housing market as well, as far as just regular housing, and then he in affordability says I got to connect you guys, see if y'all can try to do some type of collab or whatever. So that'd be really good because he just got his mortgage license as well. So that'd be
Okay.
something that y'all can talk offline about too. So yeah, okay. Um, hmm. Is there
And
any?
another thing that I'll just interject. You know, I got my insurance license to do property and casualty insurance the end of last year because most insurance agents don't really understand lending, and most lenders don't understand insurance. And when those two aren't talking properly, you end up overinsured or underinsured, paying for things you don't need, and not having things that you do need. And I've been able to help a lot of my clients even more since I got that insurance license. Um, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm glad that you said it. Now as I'm thinking about it and listening to what you said, and it's just like when the hurricanes happen, and like a lot of people had their homes damaged and the type of insurances they have. Come to find out, a lot of people didn't have the proper insurances, maybe because the real estate or agent didn't give them the right insurance. They didn't read the paperwork right, or they just was kind of negligent on their behalf from not reading before signing the contracts or whatever. But yeah, I can see exactly what you're saying just based off of the catastrophe that happened a year and a half ago. So
Hmm.
yeah, because I've seen a
Absolutely.
lot of people was displaced because of those hurricanes, and the insurance. A lot of
Absolutely.
insurance companies were diabolical. They said,
Yeah.
"Nah, we ain't
Absolutely.
paying. Have a good day."
Right. At a moment like that, they're pulling that contract out and they're going to the fine print. And if you did not have people who, number one, were looking out for your interests, but also know what they're looking at, because a lot of times these insurance companies, they're just trying to get the biggest check, right? They're not connected to the lending side of it. They get paid on commission. So they're going to just try to fatten that policy up to get the biggest commission check they can get. As opposed to me, typically speaking, I'm making money on the mortgage as well as the insurance, and the insurance is kind of a minor part to me. For me, it's a matter of making sure my clients are being protected so that if something happens 3 to 5 years from now, they're not coming back to me, upset because I didn't look out for their interests. And even more so, once I got into this and I started going back through people who I worked with years ago and looking at their policies from these companies I just sent them to, they were paying for stuff that had no value. They were overinsured in a lot of cases. You live in a $300,000 house and they got you paying insurance for $600,000 in value. You're a normal person and they're giving you $150,000 in personal property coverage. What do you got? Birkin bags and diamonds stashed in your house? You know what I mean? Like, but it helps them make more money. And I was able to go back and save these people thousands of dollars a
Uh,
year. And, you know,
uh, oh, oh,
it's amazing the things you see once you know what you're
these
looking at.
people crazy. They got the terms and conditions. They like, oh yeah, we got you. Terms and conditions.
I got you.
E and C.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add something to that too. I know people be getting excited. It's your first time buying houses. I know you want to flip houses. I know you want to get into the real estate sector and as far as entrepreneurship and investment and build equity. You want to build your portfolios. I want to say to my audience, you always want to take your time to read the T and C thoroughly. Ask as many questions as you can before you sign into anything, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna uphold their end to a certain degree, but they're gonna also find little loopholes to not pay back as far as insurance companies go, because like in Florida specifically, whether it's car insurance, whether it's renters insurance, whether it's flood insurance, they're just looking for ways not to pay you out. So you want to make sure the people that you're working with have your best interests at heart. They care about you as an individual. They care about your individual needs and your family, and they're not looking for a one and done sale. Okay, you're looking for people who care about you, and a lot of times, I'm not saying this to be funny. A lot of people do this. They sometimes they can act like a car salesman and they just want to put you in there. You know, they'll give you the best. To seem like they looking for the best terms, but you got to make sure that you dealing with people that have integrity and your best interest. So yeah, absolutely. That is crazy. That is crazy because so many people did not get paid out when that hurricane happened. That is crazy. So you can be overinsured.
Yeah. You can be overinsured with things that are not relevant and underinsured with things that you actually need. And I've seen this. And I mean,
How
you
does
know,
that happen?
that happens because that happens because there are some people who actually take pride in disenfranchising others. And some of those people have been in charge of this industry for a really, really long time. And it's just par for the course. They've been doing it since these things were invented. And they laugh about it amongst themselves. And this is why they went to such great lengths to keep me out of this industry. But they can't stop me because I'm exposing them. I'm leading my people to the right place. You know, whether it benefits me financially or not, but I get to sleep good at night knowing that I'm helping people and I'm not setting people up for failure because I'm always going to be provided for. You know.
That's good. That's good, man. I'm glad that you know, taking that risk, man, and having the courage to come out and tell us what's going on in the rental market, how you're willing to help people and educating people, and definitely, you gotta link up with my bishop about this stuff, man, because he's teaching some classes on that. Maybe I can come together and teach some things together, and build some a lot more awareness between the Tampa Bay and St. Pete area, and y'all can combine. Like he's been in it for over 20 years himself, so maybe I could do a collab and see how y'all can bring more awareness to people who are trying to get into this to a house. He's the actual broker and you the actual, lender. So that'll be really good. That'll be a really good combination, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking to do a lot more community-based stuff this year. One thing that has kind of emerged is this solution that, there's a lot of people who fit this category I'm about to describe. They own a house, either free and clear, or they have a low mortgage. In some cases, they inherited it. The house needs work. It needs a roof. The windows are bad. The AC stopped working. They don't have insurance. And they can't get insurance because they need a roof. And they can't get a roof because they don't have money. And they can't access the money because their financial situation won't let them qualify. So I have reverse engineer solutions where I've done this with a few people this year already. I get them a private money loan that's kind of a no questions asked loan based on the equity, just so they can get the repairs done on the house. Then once the repairs are done on the house, I refinance them into a long-term mortgage to get them the money out to pay all of their debt off, give them savings, take that vacation you've been wanting to take. I get them insurance, and they live happily ever after. And I want more people. I want to be able to access more people who don't even know that something like that is possible. They just think they're stuck and they can't do anything about it. And oftentimes it's hard to get people to be honest about their situation, so that I can help them.
A lot of times people don't want to be honest because they don't want to. Because they think that you're gonna judge them. They feel like you're gonna look at them crazy. They feel like they feel insecure and they feel like a loser a lot of times when they present this to people. They're like, man, I don't want him talking. I don't want nobody in my business. But the thing is, you probably should tell somebody so you can get the help that you
Yes.
need.
And there's so many scammers out there, and I've heard people. All three of those people told me at some point during the process, "This sounds too good to be true," and I'm like, "But it is true." So stay tuned.
Yeah. Let's see, go to a couple of these comments. Gretchen, we appreciate you tuning in and being active on the live. Appreciate you. Okay, my brother, World Prime, you got critical. Yeah, man, I got to critically think, man. This is the purpose of this podcast. I like to ask a lot of questions and I like to, um, do a deep dive in what people do and educate myself and spread the wisdom amongst not only you but amongst the people around me as well. So that's one of the main things about this podcast. So you can get the knowledge and tools that you need and resources to be successful, as well as connect with the guests and help each other build. That's what we're going to do. Help each other build as well. Okay, and Chief says, Grand Rise and my brother King Moses Alford, may the spirit of the ancestors keep you in best of health, wealth, prosperity, and happiness in your life forever. Love you for life, bro. Yes, sir. So Chieftain, shout at you out.
What's up, Chief? How you doing, brother? How you doing? How you doing? I gotta give you a call. It's been a while. Been too long.
Yes, sir. So yeah. Some absolutely. This has been some good stuff. Um,
In the chat, does anybody have any specific questions for me? Anything mortgage related that you want me to demystify for you?
all right, let's do the Q&A. Let's do the Q&A, everybody. Let me give you a couple of minutes to do a Q&A, and then we're gonna close out. We definitely gotta do another. We gotta do a part two of this. That's a lot of stuff that you described.
Yeah.
You say yes. All right, Gretchen, put your questions in put your questions in so we can talk about it. Maybe something that I missed, maybe somebody else missed. So put your questions in the chat. Okay, we got something right there. Okay, she said he's doing well. Thanks. Good.
Good.
All right, Gretchen.
Glad
Wait.
to hear that.
All right, dude. All right, Dad. Let me know if you have any questions, and also, Gretchen, do you have any questions? Let us know if you have any questions. Right here. She said, "I'm good now. No more."
Okay.
She said,
I know I covered a lot of info.
"No more." I said, "I'm good now. No more crushes for me. I got a personal realtor. Her name is Miss Donna Fusion." Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you still can, get in contact with Moses if you have any questions and things of that nature. Because so he said, "Yep, I'm good." He broke it down. All right, sounds good.
Good
Sounds
stuff.
like good. All right, that'll work. So tell us, uh, how do the people get in contact with you and your website and all of that?
Yeah, so my website is Alford Lending Group. No, sorry, alfordlending.com. Alfordlending.com. That's the actual URL. And on there you can apply for a mortgage there. You can get all different types of information. Some of the things I just covered. I'm also on social media, Moses Alford on Facebook. On Instagram, I am Moses Deal Coordinator, Moses underscore Deal Coordinator. And my cell phone, 813-819-0222. I always answer. And I like talking about this stuff. So, if you had some questions or you just wanted to strategize about how to make something happen, I'm always open for it.
All right. Do you have any closing remarks?
Um, yeah, just start where you are. It's really easy to put things off and, say one day, but if you start where you are, it might be able to happen a lot faster than you thought. Because the time is going to pass no matter what. The question is, are you building equity while the time passes?
Okay. Piggyback off of what he said. You want to just start, come up with a game plan, write it down, make the vision plain, and be honest. Okay. Be honest with your lender now. Whether you use Moses or not, you want to be honest. Show them everything you got because they might be able to help you and point you in the right way to get the resources to get the help that you may need and how you
Right,
may be able to correct it sooner than you think. But they
right,
won't be able to help you unless you completely honest and transparent with them because they don't want it to come up later. It's better if you
right.
just honest and upfront as y'all having that conversation. It could save you thousands and hundreds of thousands as well because it's just it can be just little details that can actually save you money because just like he said in the insurance and the mortgage, like if you give them like different, you might not have these needs, but they might be overselling you or underselling you, but it's all based off of the information that you provided. So you want to make
Right.
sure you provide all the details. It can be one or two things can make a difference between you making hundreds and thousands of dollars and having lines of equity and credit in your home, or it can cost you the complete 180. So you want to take some of this advice and apply it to you. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and close out. So my famous saying is you just don't know which angle we coming from each week. Next Thursday, we're gonna also have a phenomenal guest. And I'm gonna end it off with our famous quote. Once you discover how unique you are, you begin to change the world around you. Mr. Pineapple. So with that
Absolutely.
being said, we over and out. Let me see. We got one more comment in here. Let's see. Chief said, I'm proud of you too, my son and my brother. And then Gretchen
Thank you, Chief.
said, thank you so much. All of you love you. We love you too, Gretchen. We
Love you
appreciate you.
too.
And we'll
Thank you,
see you
guys.
soon.